Toyota just put in 50 million into your company, and Daimler also invested $57 million. Big car makers learning from Tesla.
We are working with government to create infrastructure, pursuing emissions-free technologies for everyone.
Toyota's definitely the best position. Honestly, Tesla's got a decade, head start on everybody. Making vehicles means you have a future.
Did you know Tesla makes 8 times the profits that Toyota makes per car due to its production problem? That's got the bosses at Toyota concerned, and here's how they're planning to solve the problem.
Elon Musk just got blindsided, and not by a startup, but by the one company he never saw coming. Toyota just humiliated Elon in a way no one expected, and what followed behind the scenes. Let's just say, Elon completely lost it. This wasn't a simple announcement or a flashy reveal, it was a direct shot across the bow. The quiet giant finally roared, and the fallout is sending shockwaves through both the EV and space industries. If you thought the rivalry between Tesla and traditional automakers was over, think again. What Toyota just did changes everything, and Elon's reaction says it all. Tesla's grip is slipping. To fully understand the circumstances surrounding Toyota's latest revelation, we must take a step back and talk about recent changes. For years, Tesla has worn the crown. It wasn't just an electric car company, it was the electric car company. Elon Musk didn't just build EVs, he built a brand so bold it rewrote the rules of the entire automotive industry. Traditional automakers? Musk dismissed them as outdated relics, and to be fair, for a while, he wasn't wrong. Most were stuck in neutral, while Tesla sped past with over-the-air updates, self-driving tech, and futuristic factories that looked more like tech labs than assembly lines. But lately, something's shifted. Tesla is still a major player, no question. But the air around the throne is getting thinner. Its once clear path to dominance is now cluttered with roadblocks, many of which Musk didn't see coming. Price wars in China, supply chain hiccups, growing investor unease, and rising competition from both EV startups and legacy giants, it's all adding up. And while Musk juggles SpaceX, Neuralink, and X, formerly Twitter, his competitors have been quietly closing the gap. Tesla's margins have taken a hit as the company slashed prices globally to stay competitive. That once premium image? It's starting to look a bit more mass market. The Cybertruck was supposed to be a game changer, but production delays and lukewarm reception have left some fans wondering if the magic is fading. And behind the scenes, there's pressure from shareholders, from regulators, from rivals who aren't just copying Tesla's playbook, they're writing their own. But maybe the most surprising twist in all of this, it's who's making the boldest move right now. Because while the spotlight has mostly been on flashy startups and Chinese EV brands, there's been a slow-moving giant in the background. A company known for reliability, not rebellion, consistency, not chaos. And now, that company is stepping forward. Toyota. Yes, that Toyota, the one critics said, was dragging its feet on EVs. The one everyone thought was too conservative, too traditional, too late to the party. But as it turns out, Toyota wasn't ignoring the EV shift, they were preparing for it on their own terms. And what they're building behind the scenes, it's not just a response to Tesla, it's a challenge. This isn't about rushing to market with flashy prototypes, it's about laying the groundwork for something much bigger, something that spans cities, satellites, and possibly even space. Toyota isn't making noise, they're making moves, and they're doing it without the drama that follows Musk's every tweet. The timing couldn't be more critical. Tesla's position is still strong, but it's no longer unshakable. The mystique is wearing off, and competitors sense blood in the water. Elon Musk still commands attention, but attention doesn't equal dominance, not anymore. And while he's busy fighting battles on multiple fronts, Toyota is gearing up for one very specific strike. No flashy insults, no viral posts, just quiet precision. But if you think this is just about electric cars, you're not paying close enough attention, because what's coming next from Toyota, it's bigger than a vehicle launch. It's bigger than EV range or factory speed. It's something Elon Musk didn't expect, something that could pull the rug out from under Tesla's feet and maybe even rattle Musk himself. And it all starts with one very deliberate, very public move, coming up a bit later. The sleeping giant awakens. If Tesla is the flashy disruptor who charged into the party and kicked over the furniture, Toyota is the quiet observer in the corner, watching every move. For years, they were criticized for not going all in on electric vehicles. Commentators called them hesitant, outdated, even arrogant. While Tesla was announcing new battery tech and unveiling futuristic designs, Toyota stuck with hybrids and hydrogen fuel cells, technologies many dismissed as behind the times. But here's the thing, Toyota doesn't do hype. They do strategy. And that's exactly what's been playing out beneath the surface. While other automakers raced to throw EVs onto the market, Toyota was studying the terrain, mapping it, preparing. And now that patience is starting to look more like precision. Because despite the criticism, Toyota still sells more vehicles globally than almost any other car maker. Their supply chains, impeccable. Their engineering reputation, rock solid. They've spent decades mastering reliability, scalability, and manufacturing efficiency. And now they're using that same blueprint to step into a new era, one that doesn't just include electric cars, but something much more ambitious. Akio Toyoda, the company's former president and now chairman, has long held the belief that the world's rush to fully electric vehicles wasn't as simple or inevitable as some believed. He argued that the global infrastructure wasn't ready, that EVs alone wouldn't solve the emissions problem. He was mocked for it. But now, even as Toyota pushes harder into electrification, many of his earlier warnings are proving accurate. Governments are backpedaling on EV mandates, energy grids are under strain, and EV range anxiety? Still a thing. But here's where it gets interesting. Rather than playing catch-up, Toyota has been using this time to build out a multi-pronged plan. They're not betting everything on batteries. They're developing next-gen solid-state batteries, which could change the game entirely. They're continuing with hybrids and exploring hydrogen, which still holds potential in commercial transport. And most importantly, they've been investing in long-term infrastructure projects that go far beyond the car itself. While Tesla built a brand around one man's vision, Toyota built a machine. One that doesn't need constant headlines to stay relevant, one that doesn't implode when leadership stumbles or the market wobbles, one that plays the long game. And that machine is waking up. Their global investments in innovation hubs, battery production, and next-gen mobility tech are starting to pay off. Quietly, Toyota has filed hundreds of patents related to autonomous driving, smart infrastructure, and AI-assisted traffic systems. They've been building pieces of a puzzle that only now is starting to reveal the full picture. And that picture is huge. What Toyota is aiming for isn't just a fleet of electric cars, it's an entire mobility ecosystem. Not just charging stations, but interconnected cities. Not just safer vehicles, but predictive AI networks that manage traffic flow. While everyone else was chasing range numbers and 0 to 60 stats, Toyota was thinking about how all the pieces connect. That's the difference. Tesla moves fast and breaks things. Toyota moves slowly, but when they move, things stay built. And now, they're moving. The sleeping giant is awake, and it's not here to play catch-up. It's here to compete and to challenge. Because while the industry was watching China and obsessing over Tesla, Toyota was preparing something that could blindside them all. But just what that is hasn't been fully revealed. Not yet. Signals in the shadows. While most of the industry was focused on Tesla's every tweet, battery day, and prototype reveal, Toyota was quietly laying down blueprints. No fanfare, no flashy slogans, just quiet, relentless preparation. And for those paying attention, the signs were there. hidden in patent filings, obscure press releases, and small-scale investments that didn't make headlines until now. Let's start with the patents. In the last few years, Toyota has filed hundreds of them related to solid-state batteries, AI traffic control systems, and autonomous vehicle navigation. Most automakers file patents, sure, but Toyota's filings form a very specific pattern. They're not just focused on the car itself, they extend to the environment around the car. Smart roads, communication between vehicles, machine learning models designed to adapt traffic in real time based on population movement. In other words, Toyota isn't just preparing for EVs, they're preparing for the full infrastructure that supports them. And then there's the hardware side. Unlike Tesla, which often announces features and then races to figure them out, Toyota has built its empire on getting things right before making them public. Over the last 5 years, they've been refining their battery tech quietly, investing billions into R&D across Japan, North America, and Europe. Most notably, they've been perfecting solid-state battery chemistry, the holy grail of EV performance. Lighter, faster to charge, less risk of fire, and if successful, miles ahead of current lithium-ion technology. Now here's where it gets interesting. While many assumed Toyota was dragging its feet because they were behind, the reality is that they didn't want to join the EV race using the same tired tools everyone else had. They wanted a new set entirely. That patience is starting to make sense. In 2024, they ramped up hiring in AI and robotics. They formed quiet partnerships with universities and mobility labs. In Japan, they began testing autonomous shuttles in controlled environments while simultaneously building the infrastructure to support those vehicles. Not just roads, systems, the kind of foundational tech that makes real autonomy scalable. You won't find flashy launch events or Elon-style live streams about these moves, but if you dig through the fine print, you'll find threads connecting all of it, from cloud computing investments to predictive safety algorithms. It's not just about cars anymore. It's about building the digital nervous system for how people and goods move in the next decade. There's also a cultural element at play. Toyota's corporate DNA is all about refinement and iteration. They don't react, they calibrate. And that's exactly what they've been doing. Watching the chaos in the EV market. Watching Tesla expand, stumble, recover, then stumble again. And all the while, preparing for a moment that's now approaching. Insiders have said for years that when Toyota decides to go all in on something, they don't enter to compete, they enter to dominate. And lately, the signs have gone from subtle to obvious. R&D spending has reached record levels. Factory upgrades are happening faster, and executives are speaking more boldly, still measured, but noticeably confident. Something is building. And while the rest of the world was distracted, Toyota was locking in its plan. They haven't revealed the final play just yet, but it's coming. A coordinated, deliberate move that connects all these signals in the shadows into one very loud, very public statement. And once it's revealed, the message will be impossible to ignore. Before we talk about that, let's shift gears and talk about Elon for a moment. Elon starts watching closely. Elon Musk isn't easily rattled. He's known for brushing off competitors with a smirk, often dismissing legacy automakers as too slow, too bloated, or too unimaginative to pose any real threat. For the longest time, Toyota fit neatly into that category, safe, predictable, and, in Musk's view, irrelevant to the EV revolution he believed he was leading. But something shifted in early 2025. It wasn't just one moment. It was a series of subtle signals, quiet announcements, a noticeable ramp-up in Toyota's global activity, and a growing buzz in industry circles. Musk, who's usually focused on the next big launch or Mars prototype, reportedly began asking more pointed questions in internal meetings. According to insiders, he wanted detailed updates on Toyota's battery advancements, especially their rumored progress in solid-state technology. He'd heard whispers Toyota wasn't just catching up. they might be leapfrogging. Tesla has always prided itself on being ahead of the curve. It introduced over-the-air software updates when other automakers were still mailing CD-ROMs. It built charging networks, AI chips, and custom hardware before anyone else considered doing it in-house. And Musk's edge came largely from the belief that nobody could catch him. But Toyota was moving with a kind of precision that didn't look reactionary, it looked calculated. Publicly, Musk kept quiet, but his actions suggested he was paying close attention. Not long after Toyota increased its investment in advanced mobility infrastructure, Tesla announced a sudden acceleration of its own AI projects, particularly around autonomous driving and robotics. The timing wasn't lost on analysts. One veteran EV journalist even wrote, "It feels like Tesla is looking over its shoulder, and for the first time, the shadow isn't coming from Silicon Valley." It's not that Musk feared Toyota's cars, at least not in the traditional sense. It was Toyota's scale, their discipline, and the long game they were playing that likely unnerved him. Unlike startups that often burn bright and fast, Toyota's moves felt patient but permanent. They weren't gambling on market hype. They were building something slow, steady, and meant to last. And that's exactly the kind of threat Musk has the hardest time countering. You can't out-tweet it. You can't crush it with a price cut. You can't mock it when it's not even trying to compete on the same battlefield. Toyota's silence was unsettling. While Musk fired off snarky posts and hosted live streams about humanoid robots and cybertrucks, Toyota's leadership kept their heads down. No social media wars, no flamboyant promises, just quiet momentum. Some in the industry began comparing it to a chess game. Musk had been playing speed chess, dominating early with bold moves. Toyota, on the other hand, had been playing the long game, thinking 6-7 moves ahead. And now the board was shifting. In press conferences, Musk began referring more often to serious competition, a term he rarely used in previous years. He warned of complacency within his own teams and urged engineers to push like it's day one again. Behind the scenes, there were reports of tense meetings, cancelled vacations, and accelerated deadlines, signs of a company no longer resting comfortably on top. Something was clearly bothering him. And although he didn't name Toyota outright, there was no mistaking where the pressure was coming from. Tesla had always looked down at the old guard. But now, one of those old guards was climbing the ladder and doing it without making a sound. Musk had spent years building rockets, reinventing transport, and dominating headlines. But this wasn't about being loud, this was about being ready. And Toyota was nearly there. The calm before the collision. By the time January 2025 rolled around, something was in the air. The Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in Las Vegas, was packed with the usual buzz, foldable screens, AI-powered gadgets, robot dogs, but one name stood out on the schedule more than expected: Toyota. That alone raised eyebrows. CES is typically where tech companies steal the show, not traditional automakers. Tesla rarely even attends, preferring to create its own spotlight. Toyota? Historically low-key at best. So when the press noticed that Akio Toyoda, now chairman and still very much the face of the company's soul, was making a rare appearance, speculation began to swirl. Something was coming. Something big. Toyota played it cool. No leaks, no trailers, no countdown clocks, but reporters noticed unusual activity behind the scenes, private meetings, closed-door briefings, and a sharp uptick in Toyota's media presence in the days leading up to the event. Industry insiders were quietly tipped off. This wasn't going to be a routine update about hybrid sales or safety features. This was going to hit different, and it needed to. Because Tesla, despite its recent turbulence, was still the bar. Elon Musk's companies commanded attention on multiple fronts: electric cars, AI, space, neural implants, even the fate of social media. But in recent months, the narrative around Tesla had shifted. Stock volatility, regulatory headaches, questions about quality control, and a growing sense that Musk, for all his genius, was stretched thin. It was the perfect time for a challenger to make a statement, and that's exactly what Toyota seemed poised to do. As CES kicked off, journalists were on high alert. Tesla wasn't on the agenda, but its presence hovered over everything. Every car company that stepped on stage had one unspoken goal: prove they could stand in Tesla's shadow or outgrow it. Most failed to make a dent. Either their tech felt recycled or their messaging tried too hard. Then came Toyota's turn. Still, they didn't start with fanfare. No dramatic lighting, no rock concert soundtrack, just Akio Toyoda stepping up to the mic with his signature mix of humility and sharp humor. He opened with stories, reflections, a vision of mobility that sounded more philosophical than technical. But then, without raising his voice, he shifted. He spoke about the limits of traditional thinking, about how transportation wasn't just about roads anymore, how the future wasn't grounded. It was airborne, orbiting, even cosmic. And that's when things started to click. He wasn't just talking about cars. He was talking about something much bigger. Those in the room could feel it. Something had changed. Even before the final announcement, the tech world was already buzzing online. Elon Musk hadn't tweeted in hours, but his name started trending anyway. Not because of anything he said, but because of what Toyota might say next. Live stream chats lit up with speculation. Is this Toyota's SpaceX moment? Are they going to announce a moon car? Is this a shot at Elon? But no one outside a small circle of Toyota executives knew what was really coming. Not yet. What was certain, though, was that the stage had been set. All the whispers, the small moves, the shadow games, everything had built to this moment. The calm was nearly over. And when Toyota finally dropped the curtain, it wouldn't just be a surprise. It would be a declaration, one that wouldn't just catch Elon off guard. It would hit him where it hurt the most. Next, we will reveal exactly what Toyota said and how Elon Musk reacted when he realized what they were really building. The silent humiliation. The lights dimmed. The crowd went quiet. And Akio Toyoda, chairman of Toyota and the company's most unpredictable force, delivered a statement that would ricochet through the tech world like a bullet. He smiled, paused, then said, "The future of mobility shouldn't be limited to just Earth or just one car company for that matter." It sounded calm, measured, but it hit like a thunderclap. Everyone in the room knew who he meant. He didn't have to say it. The dig was aimed squarely at Elon Musk, the man who built his legacy on pushing boundaries, both on the road and into orbit. But now, Toyota was pushing back. Not just with a car, not even with an electric car. This was something else entirely. What followed was the announcement of Toyota's $44 million investment in Interstellar Technologies, a Japanese spaceflight company aiming to do what Musk had done with SpaceX, only more efficiently with less drama and a distinctly Japanese engineering ethos. The twist? It was being developed under Woven by Toyota, the company's futuristic tech lab, already working on AI-driven cities, autonomous transit, and now rockets. That's when it went from surprising to seismic. Behind closed doors, after the CES presentation, a small group of journalists were pulled aside for an off-the-record briefing. Toyota's CEO Koji Sato was there. And according to two people in the room, that's when the gloves really came off. One reporter asked if this was a response to Elon Musk's dominance in both the EV and space sectors. Sato's response? "We're not following him. We're not impressed by him. We're replacing him." Then Toyota added with a smirk, "Tell Elon, we said F you." The room went dead silent for a beat. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a marketing line. It was raw, unfiltered, and completely intentional. That quote wasn't meant for headlines, but it didn't stay buried for long. By the next morning, the phrase had leaked. Blogs ran with it. Tech Twitter exploded. Reddit threads lit up. And somewhere, behind closed doors at Tesla's headquarters, Elon Musk was reportedly furious. Sources close to his team said Elon was already tense after watching the CES stream. But the leaked comments? That was personal. According to one insider, he threw his phone across the room, cancelled an investor call, and stormed out of a scheduled meeting. For a man who built his brand on being ahead of everyone else, the idea that Toyota had just flipped him the verbal middle finger, it was unthinkable. But it happened, and it hit him hard. Because this wasn't just about space or mobility or markets. This was about pride, status, legacy. Elon had always positioned himself as the pioneer, the innovator, the disruptor. And now here came a 90-year-old car company rolling in quietly, speaking softly, and then suddenly delivering one of the most brutal takedowns the industry had ever seen. It was clear to everyone. Toyota just humiliated Elon Musk. And Elon completely lost it. What was supposed to be another calm, predictable CES showing turned into a turning point. The silent giant had spoken, and the message was clear. They're not competing with Tesla anymore, they're replacing it. And Elon Musk, he's finally realizing this war isn't just coming, it's already started. So now the question is, was this the moment the balance of power in tech and mobility finally shifted? Or is Elon already planning his next move to take it all back?